Welcome to another episode of the Journeyman Co. Hello to all our listeners, and hello Jeffy. Good to see you, my boy.
Hello, buddy.
I like the beanie.
Thanks.
Um,
Old.
yeah, thanks to everyone who's reached out and who's listening. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you get the pod, YouTube, Spotify. Follow us on our social media channels. You know, we really appreciate all your support.
Yeah. Journeyman.
That's serious business out the way. Now to the fun bit. We've got two very special cats coming onto the pod. I don't know where this is going to go, but we've dubbed it the Eastern Cape Cowboys, because they really are two cowboys. We've got your brother, Matti Williams, and Chris Cloete, your cousin. So it could be a very rogue conversation, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Obviously, very distinguished rugby players in their own right. Matti was part of the Northampton team that won the Premiership a few years back. Chris Cloete is obviously well-travelled, Munster, Bath, Western Province, Selborne legends, Eastern Cape legends, border legends. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say.
Now, listen, family affair tonight. The Eastern Cape Cowboys, I think it's very fitting. Two wild backs coming on. So we're going to have fun tonight, listen to some stories. And of course, they're journeymen. They're proper journeymen. They've traveled. They've played all over the place. Maddie playing with me now here in France, RCBR. So it's going to be really fun chatting to them and speaking to them and hearing about their journeys and their stories, because that's what it's all about. That's what rugby's about for us. So let's get into it. Can't wait. Let's go.
So welcome, boys, the Eastern Cape Cowboys, to another episode of the Journeyman Co. It's obviously, as Jeff said in the intro, it's a family affair. We've got the brother and the mole cousin. Both, both distinguished rugby players, journeymen in their own right, have incredible stories. And it's a massive honor to be chatting to you two boys tonight. Obviously, we all actually go a long way back. So it's going to be real fun catching up and hearing some of your stories and hearing about your journeys. So hopefully we behave ourselves. And
Nah. Everything. Let it out. Let it out.
Can I just go get a dirty Coke quickly so I can wash down all the shit on me here?
So welcome, boys. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, it's nice.
Thanks for the invite. Thanks.
Yeah, I know. Look, guys, I think it's quite lekker. We started this little thing, the journeyman, and for me, you two guys are the epitome of journeyman. I think starting off, I followed your career since you guys were under 12 together, playing there at Selborne. So I think the best thing to do for us is that journey, you playing ruggers, playing back at Selborne, under 12 together. What did that look like? I mean, you guys coming through that age, how did it all start for you boys?
It was first under 10. It wasn't
under 10.
Yeah.
Yes, like it.
Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner. Remember Mr. Warner?
With a whistle strap, and after the practices kicking for a fan from the corner. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So you guys basically started under 10 together, played through under 13s, went to Selborne, played at Selborne College, under 15s. Now, the reason why I get there is because the journeyman, the reason why myself and Mike started this whole thing was for people like us, leaving Africa, coming over and wanting to play overseas one day. So you first started, the first touch of professionalism, now tell me if I'm wrong, was under 15s. Tell me about that year, coming in with Alan Miles. And you guys had a little program there. I remember everything under 15s at Selborne. Give us a bit of information there, because I believe that was the first time you guys sort of felt a little bit of professionalism.
Well, for me, it started with Mr. Coetzee. You got your little You got your little paper with coffee in the morning, piece of toast with peanut butter and honey, and go to bed early and lots of water. No, Mr. Coetzee was I think he primed us. He made us really love rugby. Well, me personally. And Mr. Miles, who's one of our family members as well, he was really just a technician, like the way he got us little books and all of that. He's just totally different to Mr. Coetzee, obviously.
Yeah, I think, well, Alan, obviously, he played in a professional setup before he got there. That's when back when the Border Bulldogs, were still around at the is it the BRU ground?
Yeah,
there
the
in
Basil
East
Canyon,
London?
old Basil Ken.
Yeah,
I'm going there a lot.
the grass there is about elephant grass, about 2.5 meters high at the moment.
Oh no, shit.
But yeah, he came through, like, really played at a high level back in the day, and he brought that, I think, into under 15. So there weren't really many coaches around that actually had his background coming into coach schoolboys. So I think he offloaded that to us, and that like gave us a good foundation from under 15 onwards.
100%, but it was like an NFL book. Remember, we had like slogans, we had all our moves, we had everything, bro. Like, it was a notebook too. So it was honestly like, I would appreciate one now. Like, I mean, I've still got it. It's in mom and dad's place. But yeah, it was crazy, bro. Like, you had your own personal little slogan, your name on the front of it. It was a ring bind book. Crazy.
So, Mikey, just to give you some insight here, these two guys were the main dogs in the team. There were a few other guys there were really good, but I've never seen a bunch of competitive guys for over 10 years. Every push-up, every 3K run, these guys were competing with each other. Scattered with a Matt King in there doing his sit-ups maybe or something like that. But these two, were competitive from the age of 12. So you can imagine them going into this NFL sort of like, what can you say, notebook where they take down all your information, your weight, your height, your max pull-up, your max push-ups. So for me, when I heard that, because I was in matric, when these guys were under 15s. So I was playing first team at Selborne. I remember listening down and thinking, yes, like these guys are more professional than the first team, because we had old Max Norman. And, bless old Maxie was a maths teacher at Selborne, been there for like 30, 40 years, a real sweetheart of a human being. But, rugby side of things, he wasn't the most gifted with the technical stuff. So I used to watch Alan Miles do his thing. And this was in 2005? 2006.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing stuff like that. I mean, that's way ahead of its time, eh? That's way ahead of its time.
Well, I mean, sorry, go ahead, Matty.
Sorry, just on that point. Was we Alan's first team, like under 15As, because Mr. Kevin Taylor moved up to seconds that year. Yeah. So it was the first transition, like Mr. Taylor like gave the reins to Alan. I remember training against the second team that year, because our under 14 team were unbeaten, and then so they had high hopes for us in under 15, but
they took Gray to the cleaners, Baba, to the cleaners.
Well,
you were in the D team, but what are you talking about? Were you watching there?
I was just about to say no, because like obviously I was at Gray, and Selborne is our big rival. We're only 3 hours apart.
Yeah.
And I obviously grew up playing against Maddie and Chris from under 13, I think was the first time we really played against each other.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like our journey through school, how we compete with each other. Like we at Gray knew of Chris and Matt and how physical they were, how professional you could say, and that was kind of like the benchmark. So you had guys like Sia Kulisi in under 15, 16, comparing himself to Chris and Maddie and making sure that we were in the gym, getting better and performing. So it's funny how those two things kind of combined and like kind of cross borders, if you will, and how we drove each other to heights, kind of like in America, I guess, with the college football rivalries and things like that. So it was a special 5 years because we all kind of compared ourselves to each other and made sure we were pushing. And it all kind of culminated in that Craven Week in 2009 in East London, where Border were on fire, led by you two boys.
Unstoppable. 2009, amazing vouchers. Bless his soul as well. He was one of the best sponsors.
That was a hell of a Craven Week team that you boys had, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was, and also obviously Brent Jans van Rensburg obviously was also ahead of his time.
Yeah.
When we got to Matric and Craven Week, so he even took that professionalism that we got from Alan. Thankfully, we had Alan to actually like go into the next level with Brent, because he's on another level.
Yeah.
He wanted me to know the 11 moves, and when I'm skirting, where am I go? And I was like, mate, I'm a 7.
Alan gave us a taste, and then Brent just that's like, he gave us the same curriculum as like, and a lot stricter actually than you would get in the Premiership, bro. Like, he would test you individually, bro. Like, if you knew your pattern. Like,
you had to write tests.
Yeah.
And
this is with the border side now. This is the border under 18.
Oh, no.
For the people in the UK, you're basically playing for your county, or you're playing for your club like Bath. You're playing for your actual club. Border was like a club that would compete against the Sharks, Stormers, EP Elephants, Blue Bulls, like that, eh?
Yeah. But like I even remember when like Brent came in and he selected his side, and like he told us what his dream was one day to coach a Super Rugby team. And so obviously we also had these dreams of playing big rugby, and he had a dream of being a better coach as well and getting higher accolades and stuff. So obviously, like, if you bring that in compared to where we want to go, it's the same. We're in the same direction.
Yeah.
And what like, obviously coming through Selborne, we know how big like schoolboy rugby is in South Africa, isn't it? It's massive. Like, people don't believe me when I say at the first team games you could have between 10, 20,000 people. How much, I mean, and you, all three of you can answer this because you were all three Selborne boys. How much did like going to a school like Selborne, which is a really rich rugby school in terms of history, players it's produced, how did that school kind of prepare you boys for what was going to be a very interesting journey in professional rugby? Did that like feed your hunger and desire to make it even more?
So just from my side, I was the first one to go through it. So came to Selborne College, and I remember going to watch first team games at the age of 8 with my granddad. And he was old Queenian. I used to go sit there and watch Selborne against Queens. And you start seeing the war cries, the singing, the pride, the tradition. The guys were treated like legends. They walk around the pitch with their blazers on, and all the schoolboys would look at them like heroes. So when you got there and you got a taste of the tradition, it was hardcore, bud. You had to know all the matrix names. You had to know all the traditions of the school. It was almost like, it's obviously built on English heritage, but it's got a South African twist. For 150 years now, it's been Selborne College. And you got there, and you don't want to be a Springbok. You wanted to be a first-team rugby player. You looked at the jersey, you looked at the mascot, the Saturday games, 10,000 people at the game, Adidas boots. Yeah, you were the boykie, bud. Walk around a bit of a swagger. Hey, what's happening? What's happening, boys? Williams is here. So for me, I got there, came from George Randall, cuck little school, and all I did was think about playing for the first team. And I'm pretty sure it's for the boys. Everyone's got their own story, but yeah, it was lekker, bud. Playing first team rugby was the first dream. It was the first step, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, obviously, like I went to Selborne Primary from grade 3 and up to matric. And once you go, you play under 13 match, you thought you were the big dog there at the primary school. But then once you go up to watch the first team game at say 2 o'clock or 2:30, and you realize you're nothing, and all you want to do was replicate what those guys were doing in a couple of years' time. And the funny thing is, like I'm jumping a couple of years now, 2009, when I made the SA Schools team under 18, that I got my dad to drive me from Kimberley to King Williamstown on the Saturday morning to play against Dale. Yeah. After I played against England on the Friday, or whenever it was.
I'm getting fucking goosebumps, bro. I'm getting goosebumps.
So I told my dad, I phoned the coach, I was like, I'm playing against Dale, I'm coming, my dad's going to drive me down, got there, played.
Yeah, bro. I remember Kevin telling us, bro, I'm getting goosebumps genuinely, because you came late, bro. You were like, you weren't there the first half, and then we were playing. It was a tough fucking game, and I remember looking up and seeing you, bro, with your jersey on. I was like, fuck, my man's here, my hit man's here. Bro, thinking, now they're gonna cut. Now they're gonna.
Yeah, and there was also such a big rivalry between Dale and Selborne because we had like Scarum, Tabeni there, Terim, Tembu, Sawa, all those guys know great players, and there was such a big game. And Terra was obviously also, he had signed with the Sharks that year in Matric, and Scarrow with Western Province stuff. So it's a massive rivalry. And all we wanted to do was win and play first team. We actually didn't care about anything after rugby when we were at school. It was just about playing for your school, and that was that.
Yeah, no, it was the same for me. I remember, it's funny you say, Jeff, because before I wanted to play for South Africa or anything like that, or play for provincial side or Currie Cup, it was the Grey first team. And it happened in 2004 when I saw Grey PE beat Grey College for the first time in decades. And that Grey College team hadn't lost in like 60 or 70 games. Franz Steyn, Heinrich Rousseau, the Strauss brothers, all of that. It was a star-studded team. Yeah. They came down to Port Elizabeth in 2004 and we beat them. And that was the first jersey I wanted to wear, the Grey first team jersey.
So, you know that team? I played against that team. And we came down and I remember sitting on, I'll tell you a story, I get goosebumps, shivers actually, because I was on the pitch waiting to play against this Grey team. It was the last game of the season. You know, Grey play against Selborne College. And they made us wait 5 minutes. And we're waiting on the pitch, boys. I'm waiting. I'm playing 12. And I just see this, the Grey boys coming, the first team. This blue wave coming behind the stands. And they come walking down slowly. And I don't know what the captain's name was, Monty, or he turned to Cohen Friesler and they're in tears. And they kiss each other as about to run on for the last time. And I looked around my team. I said, yeah, the boys, we're going to cuck today. We took 50. It was one of the hardest games I've ever played in my life. I just remembered everything we did. But that passion, when I saw those guys, it'll be with me for the rest of the great crowd stood up because they were like paying homage to this great team. And this great team ran onto the pitch, boys. It was silence, dead silence. And when they saw that great team walking around the back like that, I can, to the day I die, I remember, because when you're at 12, they're at the front. You got your own little pod, you're standing there by yourself. And you're waiting, and you check. Yeah. I mean, they're in the mood to play. It was a tough one for us. We took 50. We took 50, boys.
Yeah, I do remember watching. I remember watching that game. And,
sorry.
Hey?
Cleats, did we ever lose to Grey? We didn't know.
Oh, we got pumped as well.
Tell us about that story.
Grey.
Tell us about that story when you guys played.
Let me just, coming back to yours, Jeff. Yeah, coming back to yours, Jeff, when Franz Steyn came on the field, second half, I think, he was only allowed to play like 10 minutes or so. And he looked a bit arrogant, puts the ball down the 22, says, ball it to. Here I'm thinking, surely not. He kicked the Adidas ball into the Astro.
Did you know? True story, bud. True story.
Promise you.
Talking about Franz Steyn, bro, we watched him play in that Grey team, but in Bloemfontein. And, for people that don't know, Bloem's at a bit of altitude. I've never seen a schoolboy to this day kick a ball that far and high. Bro, when he kicked that ball, it was taking aerial photographs of Bloemfontein. But I've never seen a schoolboy hit the ball like that.
Played in a World Cup 2 years later. Think about that, World Cup final.
That team was crazy, bro.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that last year when you guys played against. I just remember, Matt. I was there. I was a student. Matt King running into the sideline. I want you to tell us through that sort of game because you're playing against Mikey.
Yeah.
Yours sincerely, Vivi, Sia Kolisi. There's a red card in the game. Talk us through that little last passage.
Renier Erasmus with that. Yes, that's good.
And wasn't scared of the gym.
Boy.
Wasn't scared of many things, that chap.
No.
Not even Pelman.
No. No, listen. It was always a big game. I mean, now we're going back here. The Grey boys pumped us under 13. Then we come back with a new team under 14. We pumped them. Didn't lose to them. 15, didn't lose to them. Then we go to one game a year. And obviously our final game with you, Chris, your final game, not my final game, against Grey.
Was that at Grey, sorry?
Yeah, I get sent off. Red card. Because I tackled Sia in the air off a kickoff. I pick him up. and the other seer, because there's two seers.
One of the 8th man.
Yes. And I picked him up, and the other seer hit him from behind, and he fell over. Boom. And so that was Seer Kolisi that hit him from behind. I'm talking about the 8th man seer. So I get sent off, red card. So with like 20 minutes to go, and were we down? I'm not too sure at this stage, but we ended up winning the game. Do you remember how we won it? Do you remember?
Penalty.
No,
I don't know.
No, cheese. We had a scrum on our 10-meter, bro, and our center, his nickname was Cheese because he got into a fight at hostel over cheese spread, so his nickname was Cheese. And
makes sense.
All game long, he's flipping off the gray stand, like literally just going like this, like. And they just want to, like, all the gray boys are like swearing at him, and I'll never forget it because I'm sitting on the sideline watching, and Matty King, who's one of the best players I've played with, honestly, like even like a great player, picks the ball up from the scrum like a scoop, like very stylish, smooth, scoops it up from the scrum. I think we're going back a little bit, man down. And he runs towards the grey stands, and he stops just before the line, and he rolls it out to the grey boys, and the game's over. Chaos erupts. It was crazy, bro. It was like a movie. Honestly, it was like a movie. I remember sitting there going, "We won. We fucking won." Couldn't believe it.
That was a very difficult pill to swallow.
Max, you were playing what? Lucid then?
No hooker.
Okay. Big hooker, bro.
We struggled that year though, because we obviously had our great 2018. That 2018 was warm, bro. Yeah. We lost one game that year to Grey College, and it was because we dropped the ball over the try line. But we went to Paul Ruiz, we pumped them at home, and we were on fire that year. Then in 2009, we were expected to be very, very strong. Sia was in matric and 10 kilograms heavier. Renier Erasmus was in matric and
20 kgs heavier.
and just muscle.
Big boy.
But unfortunately that year we were struck down with injuries and we didn't quite have a back line, and I think Sia was playing
excuses.
Bro, no, but they did, bro. Nicholas Holton, bro, was like a Larkin, bro.
But he did play.
Big what?
He played in that game, didn't he?
Yeah.
But you guys had your boys, bro. Palmer.
Yeah. But that was carnage towards the end of our back line was basically forwards. We were just guys were broken, man, and the coach just kept saying, "Strap it up, strap it up." Rock up at training on a Thursday. Sia's got a concussion. No, strap it up. That's bro. Yeah. I remember this is how bad it was. And I think back to it now. And you think about how like professional rugby is in England. I mean, you boys all know. You go into the doctor. You want some. It's hard to get an anti-inflammatory off the doctors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're so strict on what we're allowed to take from a medication point of view. Yeah. I remember for the last 6 or 7 games of that year, before the warm-up, there was a line of about 8 or 9 players getting pain injections, but we were 17 just to get us onto the field.
You don't want to be saying this on camera, Putty.
But it's the truth. It's the truth. We were getting Voltaren.
4 cases against... Huh? Nah, let the boys play. I always say that. Let the boys play. A few injections there into the armpit. Now we let them play. Take away the pain. Boom, boom, boom.
You see, Great PE is not like, well, Port Elizabeth is not the real Eastern Cape now. That's closer to George Way. That's nearly Western Cape. But there in East London, here, bro, and upwards, we're talking hard, bro. Running with barefoot double keys in the feet, using them as traction.
Double keys. You got to be in Eastern Cape to know double keys.
What studs do you have? Double keys.
Double keys in my toes.
Chris, why did your accent get thicker, bro? You live in Bath.
He's Eastern Cape Boytjies. He's a cowboy.
I can't speak like this, you know.
Here now the subtitles come up with.
Can I have a cup of tea with that scone?
Oh,
You better fucking edit that shit out.
I'm so happy none of my family members got an accent. I remember Clive Rathbone. I used to follow him. He was playing under 21s with the Springboks. 1 year later, he's at the Brumbies. He's playing for the Wallabies, and he's talking like that. I'm like, oh no, how is it possible? In 1 year, you've got an Australian accent, my boots. Do you know what I mean? Just an example. Now, I got nothing against Clyde, whatever.
Yeah, man, it's a bit cooler. It's a bit cooler, the accent, the Aussie accent.
And you know, also a great ref. I think he went to Australia for maybe, I think 4 weeks. Okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe 4 months. Oh, Rasta Vengi, what his name was, I think. Rasta. Oh, yeah, boys, yeah, fucking, hey, Gold Coast, eh? Jeez.
Advantage!
When I was playing in Kimberley, I said, I looked, I was like, oh shit, chap's got a fluent Australian accent. Like. Crouch, catch.
Oh my gosh.
Just
Again, just to get us back on track here. Yeah. I was quite interested, Chrissy, because we obviously know both of you boys have been a part of like really big clubs. Matti was obviously part of the Northampton side that won the premiership, and we'll chat about that. Chrissy, you've represented, you know, played for the Sharks, junior rugby, Western Province, Munster, Bath. You played Super Rugby for the Kings. The most interesting part of your career is your little...
his cricket tour.
Yeah, for lack of a better word, your cricket tour to Sri Lanka, where you actually played club rugby. Now, I remember seeing that.
That's good.
And I didn't know there was rugby in Sri Lanka. But just talk us through how that came about, how that helped your rugby, if it did.
And the top knot. You have to leave.
I know your Instagram was absolutely coughing during that time.
Yeah.
And there weren't too many pictures with t-shirts on. But just talk us through that time in Sri Lanka, but
yeah, I didn't know they played fucking rugby there anyway. They're a massive cricket nation, you know, Sachin Tendulkar and the boys.
He's Indian.
Oh fuck. That's my cricket knowledge. Well, Slinger Malinga though, he's fucking West Indies, isn't he?
No, he's Sri Lankan.
Anyway, let's get back to the story. Anyway, when was it? I came back from Varsity Cup. That after I played a little stint in Western Province, and I got glandular fever and I got sick or whatever, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna quit rugby or whatever." Then I ended up playing Varsity Cup. Didn't get anything after that, and then my old Rovers coach rang me up. It was like, "Oh, do you want to come play for Rovers?" I was like, "Well, fuck, I don't have anything else to do. You know, all I can do is fucking play rugby. It's not like I've got a fucking BCom marketing or something." And we're we're training there the one day, and what's his name? That coach is it Investec? He was the head of Investec coaching course.
Murray,
he was
Murray Maxted.
No. He was that's Greg Miller. Greg Miller was the coach at Rovers at the time, and he's like, "Oh, this guy's asking, would anyone be interested to go to Sri Lanka?" Like, I'm at Rovers getting maybe a bright pack and about 4 beers after the game and acting the fool. You know what I mean? Like doing basically nothing with your life, just playing rugby. It's quite professional, to be honest. I'm just taking the mickey now, but I was like, "Oh, what's the deal?" He's like, told me a couple of US dollars in an envelope and stuff. I was like, "It's like, when are we leaving, mate?" He's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm off." 2 weeks later, I'm on a plane through fucking Abu Dhabi to fucking Sri Lanka. I get there. I'm looking for the guy to fetch me at the airport. Like, obviously, when you like text the club manager and stuff, the communication isn't too easy. You know, I think he was using like Google Translate or something. I get there, tuk-tuk's waiting for me. Oh, fucking, this is new.
Weight restriction.
I said, "This is fucking new." Get there. 200 kilometers later to the heart of Sri Lanka, Kandy, arrived there at the club. I'm like, fucking, this place is wild.
Club, Kandy.
It's literally, it's wild. Like, obviously, there's massive like difference between the rich and the poor, because like you have a beautiful house in the middle of the slums, like. So I'd get there, and yeah, it took over from there. And I actually, like, I wasn't really enjoying my rugby before that. So all and I played at a higher level than some of the guys that were there. So it was like, oh, I can teach these guys and we can enjoy it and stuff. And that coach was actually a South African guy. He's actually from Ireland, Johan. So he was the coach, and yeah, we just played rugby and enjoyed myself, trained hard. Like, it was fucking hot there. You fucking sweat when you take a shit.
Yeah. I remember you telling me, Chris, we had a conversation when you were there, bro. I remember you telling me your curriculum, like the training was so hard. Yeah, it was puss hard. And you had no days off or something. You used to train the day after a game or something. The coach would have you in or something.
Mate, and like, as foreigners there, you come there, like, you have to fucking be the best at everything to show them, like, you know, like, you're not there to fuck around and stuff. So I was there making guys run push-ups. I was like helping them do gym stuff. And then, like, I just bought into their culture and stuff. I didn't care. Like, obviously, different South Africans might not fit in a bit there, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't know, I just, yeah, bought into the culture and how they did things. Like, don't wear fucking deodorant in the gym and sweat like motherfuckers with no towel and still bench pressing there, sliding around on the bench. But yeah, it's just, it was a fucking great experience. I loved my time there. I was actually meant to go back for the second year, but they cancelled the foreigners out of the tournament because there was massive stuff with corruption with the government. So this is how crazy it was. The government at the time, Roger Parkser, actually owned two of the club teams, Navy and Army, and both his sons played for one of them. So, like, we went up to Navy, you play in the Navy base, and there was a guy shooting an AK-47 next to the field. I was like, fucking hell, this is wild. And I was like, I took the president's son was shoving his head in the ground. I was like, fuck, this is probably not the best thing to do, is it? And like, they had some Fijian sevens guys.
That was your name there, wasn't it? Christopher Cleats.
Yes, Christopher Cleat under the high ball. Yeah, we'll actually edit that clip in there. Christopher Cleat.
And Roshan Veeraratne with the box kick. It's a lovely kick this time. And Christopher Cleat will compete. Cleat collects it and he's going to go for the line. Christopher Cleat is over in the corner. Chamara Dabare didn't have a clue.
Totally offsides, about 12 meters offsides. But there's no TMOs there, you know. It's one of those box codecs.
Kick. No.
But that's about your box kick.
It was the box kick, catch, score that I loved. Yes.
You used to watch his games. I used to watch his games. Kandy on the attack.
That is the wrong accent, but
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the Sri Lankan accent, but come on.
No, but yeah, I loved my time there. I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of the best years in my whole rugby career.
Shit.
Yeah, it's a really unique little pathway because from there you went on to represent some really big sides. So fair play, man.
Yeah, that was also by mistake. I bumped into John Dobson in the pub, pissed, tackled him a couple of times. He coached me in Vodacom Cup or something when I got sick, and I was like, yeah, fucking, I'll come to train. I'll train. And yeah, then he watched me at Hamilton's and got an email saying, come join the Curry Cup, the province side, and I played the whole season.
Yes, like that's more.
That's amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you got me when you were training there with the Springbucks? You were training with the Sevens, and you got me those Puma shoes, like a new shoes, Boytjie.
And they got stolen.
Left them in the back of my car. Yeah.
You guys also went up a mountain, didn't you?
Yes. Hold on. I'm going to get to that as well. So, Jibril, I'm there in Stellenbosch, very professional, not drinking at all. Jeff wants to go to New Bar, I think it was, then Stellies. And he was working for amazing vouchers at the time, earning good cheaters every month. Good couple of cheaters. opened his money clip the night before. That night he showed, yes, what we getting fucked up tonight. I said, oh, okay, like the other man comes. I'm looking for him. I can't find him. He's out on the pavement like this. And I mean, we're staying at your father's house in Bloberg, I think it was, or was it Bloberg?
Yeah, Bloberg. Yeah.
So I put Jeff in the car, push him in. He sits there like this. So I'm driving now. I say, Jeff, do you know where we go? Unresponsive. The man was like in ICU, in a coma. I'm saying, Jeff, I'm driving now. Keeps driving. I've been driving for about an hour and a half. I get to a gas station. So I said, Jeff, this thing's on empty, but, and I didn't have a car or anything with me. So I say, we need to put petrol in. So I make the guy put petrol in anyway. I'll fucking come back tomorrow or something to pay. Eventually I was like, Jeff, he spent all the cash. So he has his card. He goes, I say, Jeff, do you know the card number? Contactless wasn't a thing then. So I say, Jeff, number. He goes, oh, fuck. I'll be fucked. Eventually, I asked the guy, where are we? The petrol attendant, BP, I remember. He gives me a map, old school map, like navigating a yacht. He says, yeah, but I look, I'm in French Hook.
Opposite way, Boykie.
And all I could remember was that song that you kept playing over and over.
Eminem.
And over.
Song and dance.
Going up the French Hook passport. I had to put his dad's back in the low range because the wind was going to push me off the road. Yes, eventually got home 4:30 in the morning because we drove 3 hours the opposite way of Bloberg.
That's so good.
You live and you learn, boys? You live and you learn, I don't advise anyone that. I was a working man then.
Yeah.
Oh, all these things prepared us. But before we get on to the rest of your journey, Chrissy, because I want to touch on, because you obviously worked with Rassie and Jacques at Munster.
Yeah, well, only for a short stint before they joined the Springboks.
Yeah, so before we go there, obviously, Matti, you were part of the Northampton squad that won the premiership, which, as we know, is a very, very difficult feat to try and achieve. What was that year like in terms of the culture, the training, the build up to that final? Talk us through that experience.
Yeah, bro. It was incredible to be a part of that setup and with those boys. We were player driven a lot, like Dylan being the head of that. A lot of England boys, a lot of honestly great rugby players and human beings too. And yeah, bro, we were just so competitive that season in every single tournament. I just remember being in every single final. If it was sevens to the A-League final to the just every single competition that we got stuck, we got put in, we went at it. There was no because we were double champs that year. We won the Challenge Cup and the Premiership. So it was a very special year. And yeah, bro, like I said, it was just player driven. The leaders of the group sort of dictated the culture and got us all thinking aligned. And yeah, bro, just just grateful to be a part of the squad. It was awesome.
Yeah, because I obviously spent a year with Saints as well.
Yeah,
and it's a really special environment. And you mentioned Dylan Hartley.
Yeah,
just an absolute unit of a leader, as well as Courtney Laws. Courtney would have been there.
Yeah,
just you need those people kind of driving your team forward, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, bro. They're very different personalities. The different guys, the Tom Woods, the Dylan. To Courtney is very quiet. He does his leading on the field, bro. That's when I was there. That's how he was with that squad.
Yeah.
And it was old. It was a bit old school with the leadership, bro. Like coming in, being a youngster, and being full of juice and full of like you just want to go. Like you know, you got too much caffeine in you, bro. You just want to tear everything apart, and they teach you, bro. They definitely taught me to slow down and think. And sometimes you get caught on the wrong end of the stick in terms of, and they discipline you. The squad had their ways of making sure you don't make that mistake again on the field and off the field. So, but it was very, very, it was a learning for me. It was incredible. I think I was there 5 seasons at Saint. So it was really, really cool times to be a part of that that squad. I think we were in the final 2 years out of my 5. So really cool to get over against Saris in the it was 110 minutes or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. No, it's a special club with really incredible rugby players that have walked those halls. Yeah. And another team that I played for, and Jeff, is Bath. And obviously, Chrissy, you kind of playing an integral part in Bath's success this year.
Yeah.
What's that transformation been like under Johan van Graan? What's that environment like at the moment? Because you boys are flying high. You've obviously signed Finn Russell, who's probably one of the best 10s in the world, if not the best at the moment. Pretty much sitting atop the Premiership. So what's that like?
Yeah, well, I think I was with Johan, I think, for 4.5 years at Munster. So, like, I knew how he's as a person, how he speaks to people, how he tries to get the best out of people, and so that was ingrained in me, is how he was as a coach. I enjoyed him and how he comes across. And then when he came across, obviously I came to Bath with him, and obviously they hadn't had such a great run before he got there. So there's loads of changes our first year. We knew it wasn't just going to be just a graph that's going straight up to the top. There's going to be bumps, but at least if there are bumps, you still have to keep going up the graph, you know what I mean? So a lot of changes. The boys really bought into him. But I can, before I get there, I'll just say the players at Bath are probably, or if not the best people that I've been around in a squad environment. Because no one thinks they're better than you. Everyone's on the same level. No one's got a holding about them. So I think that's how a squad can really come close together. So there's a hierarchy to a certain extent, but not to make the junior guy feel shit or something like that, you know. So yeah, that's probably one of the healthiest environments I've been in as a squad. And then obviously Jan, he came in and built values and all of that, and he's a person, people's person, and a big family orientated coach. So obviously everything's good at home, everything's good at work, that type of thing. So yeah, it's been a great journey so far. Second season, obviously we're doing a lot better than we did last season. Yeah, and it's going great. We're really enjoying it. He's brought in big playmakers. You said Finn Russell and all of those guys, and those guys bring a calmness to your team because they've played at such a high level for so long and know exactly what they're doing. So he gets the ball. It looks like he's got so much time on his hands, and that's obviously leads to our attack being so much better.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Check that. You can check that with. I started watching the Netflix documentary on the Six Nations, Full Contact, and the first line you check old Finn Russell. You know, people say they like watching me play. So basically, I'm like the Messi of rugby. So you can see the confidence. He's cheeky. He's got a little bit about him. You know, he's almost give me the ball. And Bath were missing that for a long time. You know what I mean? Someone who can really take the reins. I think especially. Well, they've had great 10s there. I'm not saying that, but with this new transition, this new period of time, I think it's brilliant that he's gone there. And for you guys, it's great fit.
And I just think he's obviously added so many players to the squad to strengthen the squad in the way that we want to play, and the players around him and the players in the pack and our front row and our so it's all a puzzle piece, and the puzzle's slowly coming together. We still got loads of games this season, and we just take every game as it comes. like if we worry about these games now, the result will look after itself at the end of the competition. So yeah, we're going great now. There's still loads of games to play, but yeah, we're really enjoying it.
But Jeff, just on that point about a fella like Finn Russell from the outside, I think we had this discussion the other day, bro, at coffee. I think he watches some ridiculous amount of film and does homework on teams. And from the outside looking in, you'd never think Finn Russell does his homework like this, watches so much footage. I just heard from someone, we're having a chat about this and how like diligent he is, how he watches film on the opposition so closely. And from the outside, I was so surprised. I was like, what? Obviously, like being such a superstar, bro, like these are the little things where you get the edge, just talking like that.
When you got that nonchalant sort of vibe about you, people think you don't care or they think you don't really worry about it. But actually, he's the guy putting in 80 hours a week or whatever stupid number, looking at film. And it was actually one of the coaches of Scotland who's South African. He was just coaching at Scotland. And I had a conversation with him about Finn Russell and how he would look at feints of defenders. When he's playing against Owen Farrell, he knows Owen likes to tackle off the one shoulder, doesn't wrap this one. So there's always a little inside, like crazy little detail, NFL style stuff. And I think that's the modern game. You have to be like that. You have to be studying and looking at certain traits of personnel you're playing against in terms of ability, even when you're defending or attacking. You got to know what's coming your way. I mean, even for you, Chris, I'm sure you play stuff off the cuff, but knowing exactly what's coming your way, what defense is coming, what clean outs, how do they clean so you can jackal, all those things are crucial.
Yeah, no, like obviously said, like the more work you put in, you don't have to worry about the game itself. You can just play rugby and everything comes natural because you know exactly what's happening. So once you start not knowing that and thinking about other stuff, that affects your game because you're worrying about what you need to do rather than just playing and knowing where you need to be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's and great. do you boys, because you've obviously both played at a really high level, do you boys kind of have like your own little performance hacks that you kind of build through the week leading up to kickoff? Like what are the boxes you've got to tick to ensure that you kind of playing your game to the best of your ability come kickoff time?
Well, for me, like I've never been in a line out from under 8 until I got to Munster. And then obviously now I'm in the line outs now and stuff. So it's, yeah.
Are you a lifter?
Mate, I'm a jumper. Watch me.
Because I've
got my wings off my first jump.
I've just Googled your height. I've just Googled your height, and I reckon Wikipedia's got it very wrong, bro. You're too tall on Wikipedia. 175. 175.
He flips under the bed that hard, but
no, but I'm 1.7 now from 1.7 now from fucking my skeletal degeneration over the years of squatting.
175 is generous, no?
I'm actually 175.5 to be fair.
Yeah, I never knew there was a 0.5. Now we're moving on.
TNT, Baba, TNT.
No, but don't worry about that. But they've been questioning you. Audrey Lears questioned you back in when? How old are you? 16. He said you'll never play rugby. He said the same thing to me back at Selborne College. Haven't you showed him, eh?
No, he did teach back in the fucking dinosaur years as well. He taught my father when he was in matric as well.
And
so obviously my dad pissed him off then. He was just taking it out of me.
Okay. No, sorry. We seem to have struck a nerve there. So back to
no. Routines.
Back to your boxes.
Give us your routines. I love finding out what, a lot of the stuff I do now is a lot of longevity stuff. And Chris, I know how, and Maddie too, both you guys, how important health and experimenting and doing stuff to be the best athlete you can be. What's your current routine? And if you're a young guy, a young Jeff Williams, and I'm watching this podcast, or a young Chris Cleete, or young Matti, or young MVV with a lack of thick head of hair, what are you telling us to do? What's your routine? What are those 3 things? Let's say 3 things that you would be doing to speed up and to tool yourself up a bit more for the road ahead?
Yeah, I think from a young age, obviously, nowadays you start getting pushed into professional setups from, I don't know, 16 or 14 or whatever. So you want to build a foundation when you're young. And that's where, like, for me, I think where it plays the biggest part. Or to just say this is athletic-wise, like physical and stuff. So you have to put in the hard work, get on a decent program for years. It doesn't. Schoolboys look at you, look at professional, and be like, I want to get like that in 2 years. It's not going to happen. It takes 10 years to get there. And once you get to say a high level, then it's about maintenance and keeping your body fresh to play every week. But yeah, I'll just say nutrition is probably one of your biggest things out of everything. A training program and sleep. I think that's the easiest thing. And I know it's hard for you when you're 17, 18, 19, 20, you just want to go out, party, and that sort of thing. And we all want to do that. But if you really want to build that foundation, I think from 16 to say 24, you have to really try to be as professional as you can, because you can fall off the bandwagon very quickly once you get into your 20s, partying, girls, like that sort of thing. You're chasing the wrong things. Meanwhile, your career is only 10 years.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. So you have to sacrifice it, and you can enjoy your life after rugby. It only lasts so long. So if you really want to like build a good foundation and stuff, I think the most important is from 16 to 24, to try to be as strict as you can. And so I'm not saying over strict. There's always a time and a place for a couple of beers and stuff. But yeah, mainly just try to get that right, I think.
Yeah, bro. For me, it's switching off at the right times and having stuff to switch off, having good hobbies, having stuff that you genuinely like love doing. Like obviously I know Chris really well, and we lived together in Durban, and we know what we did wrong back in those days and what we did right. And I know like a person like Chris, he needs to be stimulated in the wild, and he needs to do his own thing, go on long bike rides. You know, I'm sure that's exactly what he would say. And for me, it's also being in nature. We love being outdoors. We love being out in the fresh air. And when we were younger, we didn't know this, so we were always on. And sometimes it gets a bit tedious, and then you have those blowouts, and you sometimes you put yourself in sort of like a bit of a negative mindset, because you don't have these good hobbies, you know, for yourself. And then obviously, like Chris said, your nutrition and sleep is the most important, to build yourself up, and it's consistency over time. It'll come. So it doesn't happen overnight, like you said. It, you know, takes time.
Yeah, you just have to build like good habits over years, and it will stick with you. It's a lifestyle. It's not, if you know what I mean. It's just, if you keep doing it over and over, it just becomes part of your life, and that's how it is.
So if I just jump in there quickly now, both you guys, what's your sort of routines nowadays? How are you guys looking for recoveries? Are you saunering? I mean, we spoke to Max about it, and anyone that knows Max Leheef knows that he's at the forefront of, you know, trying stuff, or really he's well read on a lot of biology and a lot of science when it comes to recovery and what's the best thing. What are you guys doing? What are your little hacks currently in your game and your recovery to help you? What are you getting the most benefit from in terms of training programs or techniques, recovery techniques? Obviously, sleep's a big one. But I mean, if we say this to a youngster, 13, 14, you tune him, hey, you got to sleep. Okay, I'm going to try sleep. He's still not going to sleep. So what are you doing? What's a wise man telling a young man, you know, for longevity, good recovery, and optimal performance?
For me, personally, less is more sometimes. Sometimes pushing your body too far because you're too keen and so less is more. And recovery-wise, I love a sauna and I love a cold bath, and I live near the sea now, so it's 10 degrees. It drops below 10 sometimes, so try and just get my waist underwater, and I'm there for 10 minutes at a time. And
And your sauna regime, what you doing for the saunas? Are you just going one big hit, or are you doing intervals, or what's your
20 minutes and then 10 minutes off into the pool? Just stretches and movement based stuff in the pool, and then back into the sauna for another 20. Okay. I really enjoy the sauna. You're getting close to that 20-minute mark, and the chimp inside your brain sort of starts rattling the cage and says to you, "But you're gonna pass out here, but it's a bit hard." And I enjoy just quietening that guy up, and that's my meditation, really.
Yeah. Chrissy?
To be honest, I'm not. How can I say? I'm not probably the biggest into fucking recovery. I have my own thoughts and stuff about that. Like I'd rather get into a warm bath after training because it gets my blood flowing. That's just a personal thing. Yeah. Everyone's different, and everyone enjoys what they want to do. Like I don't stretch. I don't believe in stretching. It sounds weird, but it feels like I fall apart if I stretch. But that's how I've always been.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've tried like saunaing, like maybe said when I was really like anal about like trying stuff, and sauna cold, stuff like that. And yeah, it's just I think I focused more on my sorry, my nutrition.
Yeah.
I don't take any medicine whatsoever. Well, I try to stick away from it completely. No anti-inflammatories or anything. Take turmeric every day, probiotics. Like that's all natural anti-inflammatory. So I think I get a lot of benefit from that as well. Yeah. And yeah, just sticking away from a lot of sugars and stuff like that. That actually like creates inflammation. You're feeding those. I don't know if what the right term is, your cells or whatever. That actually feeds on sugar and whatever that. It gives you inflammation and stuff like that. So drink lots of water, a lot of asparagus and that sort of stuff that I enjoy. That.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing about the Eastern Cape Cowboys, and having you guys on is something we want to be able to offer journeyman sort of people that want to subscribe and join us on the journey, is putting them in connection with you, Chrissy. Both you guys are certified trainers and tons of experience with nutrition too. So that's something we want to look to do. Definitely hit that up and start using that outlet and getting people to get in touch with you for like one-on-one stuff eventually. Because I think that's what I would love to do. I would love to have a guy like you to be able to get in touch with, or a guy like, if you want to get involved with speed work or get involved with sevens, myself, Mikey. I mean, you've been coaching out in Joburg when you were with the Lions, it's the Stillions. Matti, how much gym work have you done? Loads. So yeah, that's something I want to look to do. Definitely something to add. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just before we kind of get to the point we wrap it up, I was quite interested to find out, Chris, because I know you didn't work with him for a long time, but obviously you did spend some time under Rassie and Jacques Nienaber. What kind of culture did they kind of build, and how was their kind of coaching philosophy and things like that, just from what you can remember?
Yeah, well, obviously they try to build a team as tight as you can. Like they're your brothers, you like do anything for each other on the field and stuff. Obviously Rassie is probably the most intellectual rugby brain in the world. And then you have Jacques, probably not far off him. So if you put those two together, it's like they just know everything. They feed you information, get it across to you easier, and then just put it out in the field. And yeah, like I said, just great rugby minds, and they're just so intelligent.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, obviously back-to-back World Cup winners, so they must be doing something right.
Why did you actually start this podcast, or the journeyman, or you know what I mean? Like, what was like your philosophy behind it?
Well, for me, thanks for asking the question. But for us, what we were trying to do is the podcast is just having conversations with close people that we really look up to or have helped us on our journey. But it comes back to being that 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old back in South Africa, Canada, all over the world. And who do you call out to? Everyone knows the route of Asiya Kolisi or Itzebeth, or Anthony Watson. Everyone knows the route for those guys. But what about those guys who have to go to Sri Lanka? They have to go play at academy on a trial at Northampton. Or Mikey has traveled to more clubs than anyone in history. He has played more rugby for different clubs. He's got his Guinness Book World Record.
No. I don't have a Guinness World Record.
You have for British rugby, don't you?
I'll take it.
Yeah, no, it's just
no, but my point is we want to create a
pathway.
Yeah, a pathway and a tribe of young guys that want to get involved. And we know schools like Selborne College, Grey, and how important rugby is to young players. And playing overseas is something that is very accessible now. Why not? There's roots there, but people don't talk about it. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to start this. And the podcast for me and for Mikey it's purely picking up tools from players like yourself, like Matti, all these other players like Ant Watson and Marcus, and we're going to have different segments all the time. So it's really exciting. I think Mike, we'll add on to it, Mikey, but for us, I think that's the crux of it.
I think like you've hit the nail on the head, Jeff. I think basically we want to create a program where guys are basically able to impart their knowledge and their experiences on players that want to kind of, make it in the game. Because, as Matti mentioned previously, there are a lot of pitfalls. You don't quite know what you know until you've experienced it, or you learn the hard lesson, should we say. So basically just trying to create a platform and a business where guys can kind of reach out, get information, get tutoring or mentoring, should I say, and coaching as well. Chrissy, you obviously really experienced when it comes to nutrition and building a physique and, prepping your body for professional rugby. And those kind of things that you've learned over the years are invaluable. And we just want to create a platform where that knowledge can be shared, and young players can benefit from.
Almost like sorry, jump in there, Chris.
No, I was just saying, like, it's easy for youngsters to come out of school and think they're just going to have an easy row ahead of them and without any massive bumps. And injury is one thing, but not having a club and trying to get somewhere when you don't have anything, that's the easiest time to say, oh, I'm done, or I'm going to quit, or is it worth trying to follow the dream? And so I think that's great. Like a great thing that what you guys are providing is like you're putting people in touch with people that have been through that. Like I should have never played professional rugby, past, like gone to Munster, played football. Just my pathway, it wasn't going that way. But I think if you just stick to it and grind it out, like to a certain extent, you can benefit from that. So I think it's great that you guys are sharing people's stories and actually showing what the reality of professional sport is to youngsters and what they could expect. So it's not a shock to them at the end of the day.
Thanks, Chris.
Go on, Matti.
Just to touch on that, because we've both got similar sort of stories where the exit signs come quick and fast for you in a rugby career, and they're like, you've got to exit here, brother. But I think having a strong base like Chris has, his family is he's very close to his family like we are. And I think that sort of, I'm sure Jeff, you touched on it with Alan Miles. He did an article on it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did show that young rugby players with a strong family background. He had I can't talk from exact study he did, because I don't know, I don't have the stats on me,
Yeah.
but it was definitely like a positive towards people with families that show a lot of support, and you know what I mean. So the psychology behind having the rock behind always.
Yes, it's having someone there for you, having someone sort of to support you mentally and you know.
I think that's what the journeyman, what we're trying to do here. I mean, even myself and Mike spoke about it in a way of being like a big brother, you know, like big brother program. And you know, you think about it, the biggest things at Selborne, Dale, Queens, Grey was always the reunions, when people got together after rugby and they got together in a group, and there was like a camaraderie with that. And for us, it's almost like you can create these things, you can share these stories, but then you can have a club. We can have a club. We want to start a big brother club, and we actually look after these guys one-on-ones and look after their journey in terms of advice, putting them in the right direction. There's lots of things that I wish I had when I was coming through back in 2011, you know, to France by myself. Agents, I don't care what anyone says, there's great agents, but at the end of the day, agent ain't going to be with you 7 days a week, my buddy. They aren't going to look after you. You're going to phone, not going to get hold of them. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, is promised to you as a player, but the support you actually need comes in forms of the psychology, the gym programming, the nuances of the game. It's really something there for us we're trying to find our feet too, Mikey. I think that's a big thing with us. We're trying to find where this is going to go. And
but I definitely think what Matti and Chris said there is so true. Like, I could probably say that all four of us probably weren't given much of a chance to make it in professional rugby. And as Chris said, you just got to keep at it. It's that tenacity. It's that time at the coalface, just not giving up. And Matti alluded to exit signs. I mean, I've been through administration twice. I've had, you know, injuries at bad times. I've been out of contract, and I speak for all of us when I say you just got to keep going, man. Like Chris played in Sri Lanka, you know. Matti had to change positions, move clubs, go to France. You know, you had to hop onto a plane and go to England for a trial. You know, these are all the things that it takes sometimes, and you just got to keep at it, keep going, keep chipping away, and, you know, eventually you'll reap those rewards. So very true what you say, boys.
Love it. Boys, it's been an absolute pleasure having my cousin and my brother, my dear brother, on the podcast.
Yeah, but we didn't even get to any of the stories, man.
No, but listen, we
need that
Cape Cowboys are yet to stay.
Because Chris and I have got many stories.
No, I know. We're going to go back to that. We're actually going to do a
That's for episode 2.
Episode 2 to be continued. We're going to go into the Sharks days, back at the academy days, running around Belito.
Push-ups before we can go into the kitchen.
Yeah, things like that. We want to hear all about your...
Chris, remember when we put the mattress in the kitchen in the lounge because it was the only aircon. We all three of us slept in the lounge.
It was hot in there. It was like a fucking sauna.
Just me and you. We dosed there one on the couch, one on the
The funniest thing about that place is, but 3 years before, I'm living in that same house. That's Mull, Quinton Crocker, Wesley Dunlop, Warren Whiteley, Ian Aldendorf. That was like the place. It was so lacquer there. I promise you now. That Shane Spring or Shannon Rick pulled in there. All Dalians, all Eastern Capers. Wesley Dunlop, Eastern Cape Grey boy. Hey, boy.
But if those fucking wars could talk, there'd be.
Hey, no, we don't want to. Yeah, a lot of us are in jail.
So just so our listeners know, this is going to be a regular segment.
Yeah,
where we get the 2 Eastern Cape Boytjies on. One's in France and one's in Bath, and we'll chat all the stories, information. Chris, you can talk about your hunting, and the fitness you do whilst you're hunting.
Yeah, animals, dogs. I'd love to hear about the dogs. You know, Matty just got himself a great hound. We can talk about Bruce.
Matty can touch on, the French culture and how incredible it is playing rugby in France. So, yeah, we'll definitely save for the part 2, won't we?
Lovely. Keep some in the tank.
Keep something in the tank.
Yeah, and then the next time, part 2, we're going to have it on a Saturday or Sunday so we can have a couple of drinks together.
Yeah.
Dirty Cokes.
I have some in the fridge. I have some in the fridge tonight, but I thought, no, fuck, it's a Wednesday. I'll play Saturday. It's a bit too close. That's not being professional.
Hey, boys, thank you so much. And chat to you guys soon. Have a great week, guys. All the best for the weekend. And we can chat soon, eh?
Lekker.